This is Big Shot TV YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe.
Today, we're joined by a rising force in high-ticket sales. Someone who's built results through skill, discipline and a deep understanding of people. Known for a sharp approach to qualification and high-trust conversations. He's quickly establishing himself as a top performer in a competitive space. Please welcome Zak Clover.
Mate, that's a lovely introduction. I wasn't expecting all that. Thank you very much, mate.
All right then. So, before we begin, yeah? Where did you grow up?
Polesworth, Tamworth, mate. Not necessarily, not big city life. Tamworth's obviously like a relatively big town. Me personally, out in the sticks, countryside, so I spent a lot of my young years outside, very much just living the kind of lifestyle that you would as if you were like on a farm or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Tamworth, that's where I grew up.
Okay. Was it a rough area or was it more easygoing?
It's a difficult one to answer that because I think you could ask 10 people that same question, all of whom live in Tamworth, and you'd get very, very contrasting views. But me personally, I don't think it's a massively rough area. I think England has got a lot of places that have got affluent areas next to very, poorer areas. Tamworth's definitely got a bit of that, but on the whole, I think it's quite a nice place. I think it's a good place to live. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff around you, You're like 20 minutes drive from Brum, but then you also you've got like the countryside around you and that kind of thing. If you talk, is it, a rough place to live? I'd say
let's say compared to like Birmingham.
I would say probably not, but it also depends where in Birmingham you live, you make of your surroundings what they are. What one person might perceive to be rough, another person might not. I don't think it's a particularly dangerous area to live. I think there's opportunity, and I think you can make something of yourself there if you network and you work in the right areas. I wouldn't say it's a rough area, no.
Okay. Did you grow up with both parents? And can you talk to me about how money was treated in your household?
Yes, both parents. I've got an older sister, younger brother as well. So always had a full family. Both parents present in my life, always have been, still are. Very grateful for that. I've had a very privileged upbringing compared to a lot of the people from Tamworth, and I'm very aware of that. But my parents have always worked really hard for what they've got. They've worked, so my mum's been a nurse and my dad's been a mechanic, so jobs that typically you have to put a lot of work into, hours represents the financial return that you're going to get.
Of course.
Now, when we were younger, obviously, having young kids, it's an expensive gig. There was 3 of us and there's only 4 years between the 3 of us.
Okay.
So at times, I didn't really recognise it when I was young, but my parents have always really been stretched for money because they've always had that relationship with money where hard work equals, the finances that they're bringing in. So I have always had, both parents there and they've always worked hard. But my understanding of money was, it was always kind of like, it's never something we had in abundance. I've grew up in a nice area, my house, a very nice place. And I think outside people looking in would think, that we've got an abundance of money when really we haven't. It was through my dad's hard work because he built my house, himself.
Yeah.
And he really worked hard to build the house and to provide for me and my siblings what he has, same for my mum. But in terms of, having just money easily accessible, buying unnecessary things, that wasn't something that was really around as a kid. If I wanted something, it was why do you want it? And, if it was worth having, then, my parents would get it for me. If it was something that was worth having, but, money was very much not something that was like a blasé, just buy this, buy that. No, very much not like that. So I very much saw the value of money when I was younger.
Yeah. So would you say your parents taught you a lot of discipline when it comes to money?
No,
Okay.
no, not at all.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
As much as my parents have worked very hard for money, I would say in terms of looking after money and using money to earn more money, that hasn't necessarily been their forte. Okay. Now, I'm a big believer that everybody's brain is built differently. Everyone's got certain characteristics. Everyone is better at certain things. Now, like my dad, he can take an engine apart with his hands, fix it, put it back together. You know, he can do practical things that I could never do and will never do. Right.
Okay.
Now, he also does not have the same view on money as I do. Now, I think this is very similar with a lot of people in that demographic of age, right? Money is something that is very much looked after, like very much something that was, you know, dealt with caution, right? So when it comes to discipline with money, we were very much like, you know, it was like we very much never had it. Like it was like the money was there, but things were always bought straight away. Yeah. You know? So it's like we had the things we needed, but there wasn't excess money for just unnecessary things. So for me, it was like I had absolutely everything that I needed. But if I wanted anything, it was like, okay, well, I need to go and find a way to get that myself. Okay. And this is like, I'm going to get, say, from 13, 14 years old onwards. Yeah. Obviously, you know, before that point, I was very much into like football, gaming, very much typical stuff that a young lad's into, which my mum and dad provided fully for. But when it then came to, you know, me looking at doing different things, that's when it was like, if I want to do it, that's something I'm going to have to look at doing on my own. But to answer your question, you know, did they sort of teach me how to have discipline with money? Being completely honest, I wouldn't say that's true at all, no.
Okay, but you didn't have to rely on them. Did you have to rely on them with money, or was you someone like you said, if you wanted something, you'd go and get it yourself?
I very much relied on my parents for money in my young years, as I think most people do.
Like when did that change then?
I'd say probably in the latter years of like high school.
Okay.
And I very much, you know, it depends what you mean by rely, because I still very much lived at home. I was still fed at home, and all of the necessities that a young man has were dealt with at home. So I did rely on them, so to speak. So actually, no, I'll take back what I said. If I'm being honest, in terms of not relying on my parents for money, probably when I actually first started, you know, actually physically working. So that was around 16 sort of time. Yeah.
Okay.